This person built a brand off reviewing foods in restaurants, collaborating with businesses, and helping businesses be seen in Chicago, and even helping some go viral on her page. And we had a chance to talk with her today about a lot of different things. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Monday Mindset, powered by It's Marketable. My name is AJ D'Andrea, and I'm your host for today. And today we had the pleasure of speaking with Donut Mamii. Now, Donut Mamii is a content creator, and she does amazing reviews for primarily restaurants, but she also does other businesses as well. Some of her videos have seen hundreds of thousands of views, and she does a great job at piecing them all together and really telling a great story. We talked about a lot of great things today, such as what it's like to be a content creator, how she's expanding on her business, and even some things like how she deals with negativity on the content creation side. Let's get right into the video. I feel like you're in a creative space that not a lot of people really understand from the outside looking in. It's pretty new for the most part. What inspired you to do what you're doing with social media and like just content creation in general?
Well, I feel like I've always been a very creative person. I've always liked it, enjoyed it. For me, I've always also been passionate, not just about content creation, but about food too, you know? So a little bit about me. Back in the day when I was like really into like fitness and things like that, my friends and I would have a specific like cheat meal day, and we would use that to kind of go and explore around the Chicagoland area. Like, where are we gonna go eat next? Because we were foodies, you know?
Oh yeah.
And that kind of space, maybe like I would say like in 2016, 2017, it really took off, like the foodie space. And I started, you know, going and capturing content of like my adventures with my friends. And I didn't think anything of it. I created this Donut Mamii page just because I had my other separate page and I posted more about fitness there.
Yeah.
And this was gonna be my page for like content creation for food and my experiences. But then it started picking up more throughout the years, and then COVID hit. And then I feel like during COVID, there was just like an explosion of content creation with like people at home being stuck. And so a lot of people were doing TikToks. They were, you know, that was like the explosion of TikTok right there. People, were doing so many videos, but then Instagram Reels happened as well. And so I really thought to like have a shift in my content, not just doing pictures and doing just like whatever, but actually maybe trying with content creation, because I saw a lot of people were doing that. And I think it was a good time to actually, you know, take advantage of people being at home and you know, being accessible to their, you know, on their mobile phones. And so I created like a YouTube series that really helped launch my content creation and launched me. I was promoting Latino-owned businesses during the pandemic.
That's awesome.
To really help them, you know, because a lot of times those Latino-owned businesses, they don't have a lot of money, they don't have marketing dollars, you know, and so I did this for free just to really highlight them, talk about their stories and, you know, what they offer, the food they offer, in hopes that they would keep the businesses alive. You know, like those businesses would be kept alive by people watching the video. And so, yeah, after that, after the pandemic kind of like started like, you know, slowly to fade, I started becoming more active on Instagram and TikTok. And then, yeah, I've always just loved it. I loved storytelling. I loved creating content and, yeah, making people hungry.
I like that one, making people hungry. Yeah, because some of the restaurants and like stuff that you go to, like you do a really nice job of showing the best of the food. It's really valuable what you have. Like it's a valuable skill set to these restaurants, and I'm sure like for your content as well too. It's like a win-win for everybody. So this is the funniest thing with content. I always say this with everybody. Everybody asks me this, right? Does it feel weird at first, like when you're doing something, when you're making videos and it's like you're trying to build a page for the first time, going from that transition to like, hey, your first videos where it's like they're coming out okay, but then they're there, to like where you're at now, where it's like, okay, now that there's a system, people actually like the content. I feel like there's that discovery phase at first that you have where it's like, is this good? And like you're experimenting with things. How was that for you?
Always. Like when I first started, I've always liked talking, you know? I like being recorded, but it's one thing, like, I don't know, for me, I do a lot of voiceovers, for example. And so when I started doing voiceovers, at first I would hear my voice and I'm just like, oh, I don't know. This is weird. I don't do it. Are people going to like my voice? You know, are people going to find it appealing? So like that was one thing that I had to get used to, like hearing myself and seeing myself talk at the same time. And then, when I compare my content from back then to now I'm very detailed, like you said, like I have everything structured. I script my voiceovers, I edit to the T, like I align the music with, you know, like the transitions and things like that. So before I would just kind of shoot content, you know, and I didn't really think about like, you know, what format, and I would just kind of go with the flow. And so there's a big difference, and I'm glad that I found a system now because it's been working. And Sometimes it's so funny though, because now that I think about it, when I first started and when one of my first 2 videos like went viral,
Yeah.
they were the videos that I least tried on, which is very
Oh.
interesting, you know, because now I spend like hours editing my videos and they do well, but it's interesting to see that like when I first started, like those 2 videos that I did, I didn't even think too much about it. It was like a short little video too, maybe like a 20 or 15-second video. And it wasn't anything special with editing. It was just like something quick and it did well. So it's interesting.
I feel like the thing with social media is that, well, the ones you think that are going to do well
Yeah.
don't always do well, right?
Yeah.
And then the ones that you think like,
Yeah.
I don't even know if I should post this,
Yeah.
blows up for
I
no
know.
reason.
Yeah.
It's like-
Sometimes I'm just like, well, let me not try as much. I'll still try, but let me try to see if I do something very chill and without like, you know, that much editing to see. I've tried that too, and sometimes it still does work, you know. So
yeah.
it really just depends. But I think for me, what I found like my sweet spot with content is that I have a lot of Latino audience. I think anytime that I do content that's more about promoting a Latino-owned business or something that's Latino-owned, people are more likely to engage with it even more.
Absolutely.
Versus me posting something that doesn't really relate to like, you know, my audience as much.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Let's talk about this because I know that this is something that a lot of people go through and a lot of people have been speaking up more about. How do you prevent content burnout on your end? Because I know you produce a lot of content. How do you find yourself to also be inspired when sometimes ideas might seem like short?
For me, it happens all the time. And at first, it was funny when I first started, like once, you know, like that first video went viral, I started with the momentum. I was like, okay, let me keep producing and more and more and more.
Absolutely.
But then after like, maybe like the first like 2 months of doing a lot of content, I got like so tired. I was like, whoa, I don't know how people do it. You know, like it amazes me, the people that produce like 4 videos a day. And I'm just like, I could only imagine how many more videos that they have to produce. And it's just crazy to me. But for me, I think I've been good now that I've done this for a while. Like I've been good at taking a break because I think for me, I don't like stressing myself out. And when I know that I'm stressed out, I'm like, okay, I gotta take a break. I have to, you know, like maybe like a 1 week kind of like social media break where I don't do anything.
Yeah.
I might go like on a weekend trip somewhere or something,
Yeah.
you know, just to kind of like take my mind off of it because it is tiring. I feel like oftentimes, like, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over in my videos. I feel like I'm not creative. And then sometimes even going out to places when I'm going out to eat, it all feels like the same to me. Like the food doesn't seem any different. Like my experience isn't special. So the moment that starts getting to me, that's when I stop. And, you know, I just take time for myself. And that's been the best thing for me that helps me control that. You know, I think, you know, like surrounding myself with like people and kind of taking time also from my phone away because it's not just stopping with social media, but also like stop using like my screen for a bit, you know. So that's what's helped me. I'll take those breaks and once I get back from that, I feel refreshed. I feel like, okay, my creative juices are flowing. I'm more excited. And when you're more excited, you're more likely to do better content, right? Because you have passion behind it. You're like more motivated. And so that's my case.
One thing that you bring up, I think you brought up a good point, is that you taking breaks and everything, especially from your phone screen time, because I'm sure like people like us, our screen time is up there. Like, I mean, sometimes I'll look and I'll be like, did I just waste my whole week on the phone? But it's still scary to see like those numbers sometimes when you're like,
it is. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. They're pretty. They're very pretty.
These ones are really good. These ones are really good.
The flower this way. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
Thanks.
What do you do when you feel like you're in a situation where things are kind of adjusting and like you're trying to kind of adapt to like, I guess, the new way of content? What's your process of saying like, hey, like this is what I enjoy versus, you know, this is kind of what they want sometimes?
Okay, let's take that for example with like the whole YouTube thing. I was enjoying YouTube. It was a little bit longer. My videos were longer.
Oh,
They were like
absolutely.
maybe like 15, 20 minutes, 25.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot more editing, but I enjoyed it because it was a lot more storytelling. And so when I saw that now people are actually going on TikTok and Instagram, and now I have to limit my videos to like a minute and 30 seconds. I'm just like, how am I going to condense 20 something minutes or 30 minutes of content into like 1 minute and 30 seconds or less, you know? And so that was like a struggle for me because I really like showing, you know, like I'm really in depth about my experience.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and so it's hard when you have to like change that. But I've learned how to master that now.
Yeah, that's good.
So I still take a lot of, you know, 30 plus minutes worth of content. So having to edit is still like a long process, if not longer, because you have to like really focus on shortening things and putting the most important things out there. But
absolutely.
like I said, I still try to stay true to myself, and I think I am going to probably go back to doing YouTube because YouTube came out with like YouTube Shorts, you know, not so long ago, and so I think that's a really good thing to capitalize on. For a while, like I said, YouTube was like on the downward trends. Not as many people are watching it because of social media.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I think a lot of people are now having a little bit more interest. And from what I've seen, according to trends on social, is that people actually now prefer longer format videos too.
Yeah.
Keeps them more engaged. But I think, again, like I had mentioned before, authenticity is really key. They really want to learn more about you and your experience and what you have to say.
Yeah.
They don't expect you to be an expert on a specific topic, but I think as long as you're relatable and you're authentic and it relates to them in some kind of way or resonates with them, I think that's the most important thing. And that's what I keep in mind as well. Something I was going to say too that was a struggle for me, but I've learned how to take it and make it my own is at the beginning when I started, since I was promoting a lot of Latino-owned businesses, and I still do.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, it was tough because I found myself in a place where I was like speaking Spanglish, so English and Spanish.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of positive comments and a lot of negative comments.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people were like, "Are you going to speak English or are you going to speak Spanish? Why are you speaking Spanglish?" And that was like the common thing. And I would get a lot of hate and angry messages from people. And that really like hurt, you know, and it really made me question, like, do I want to continue to do this? Should I just speak in English? But I'm like, I have to say words in Spanish, you know, because that's how I am. That's how I speak, you know, I speak in Spanglish. And so it was like an adjustment too, or an internal realization that, okay, am I going to do this or am I going to like listen to them and just speak English or just speak Spanish? So ultimately I decided I'm going to do whatever I want to do.
Yeah, right. There you go. That's the way to go. That's the way to go.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm still going to do Spanglish, but at first it did get to me to the point where I stopped doing Spanish anything and I would just speak English.
Yeah.
So that was something that, you know, like I had to learn to deal with, but it's very tough when you have like people commenting certain things, negative things, and how do you deal with that? Because that's another form of pressure too, you know, not just the posting, but like also like dealing with people's comments, and sometimes they could be very rude, you know, and you didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to say anything. You could just be being you, and people are going to find something to pick on. So it's just,
Absolutely. That was something I was actually going to ask you about, was like negativity and stuff like that. But it seems like you've kind of went through that phase. How did it play into your mindset when that was happening though? Like, did it kind of like deter you for a little bit?
It sucked. It sucked. To be honest, it was hard to deal with. And I think I did cry like once, only because like someone went on a rant, and then a bunch of people started backing him up, and they started saying all these things, and I'm like, wow, do a lot of people think this about me? And like, I'm like, I didn't do anything bad, you know? And so like, it made me question myself, and then I had conversations actually with my friends and my parents. Even my parents, I'm like, I made them watch the video. I'm like, what do you think? Like, you know, like, should I be speaking English? And like, my parents were like, whatever you want to do, like whatever comes natural to you, you know? Like, you're not going to change, you know, based on like people's comments. And so like, it's always an internal struggle, and I think I've always had to deal with that. Just not even with social, it's even more with social, but like I've always dealt with that personally growing up.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just like self-confidence and like things like that. And so taking my self-esteem issues and now bringing it to social media where I'm out in the public and people can pretty much comment anything they want about you in your videos, it sucks. But I've learned how to like ignore those messages. Sometimes obviously you see the messages, but now there's things that you could do like on social media where you can hide certain words and you know, things like that. So like I hide all these words now, and so like it doesn't appear, you know, it's out of sight, out of mind. Sometimes I'll see something, but then I'll delete it right away, or like if someone's being mean, I'll block them, you know, because for me, I'd rather like keep my peace and keep my sanity and not have to deal with like all these like negative things, and I just want to be positive. And so I do what I can to try to surround myself with positivity instead.
And you know, that's something that I'm a big thing on, right? So it's like, okay, I'll take criticism any day of the week. You got to understand, you put something out there, you're going to take criticism. But there's a line. And I think people forget that behind the camera, right, there's real people. And it's like, you know, what you're doing and like what you're commenting and stuff like that, is it really like something you should be saying? Because I've seen some very horrible comments, like not just on any videos like for the restaurants we've done or like anything, or not even anything like that. I've seen horrible comments just on people in general for no reason. And it's just like, I think that's one problem that it's like, it can't ever end. I'm glad that you mentioned stuff like hiding words and stuff like that, because I think there is a line that you draw, and it's kind of like, you know, who cares about the engagement at that point? I know some people love the criticism or love the hate, because it's not the criticism of the hate. Some, you know, other people, it's like, you know, you got to remember, like, I do this, you know, for fun or something like that. You don't know who you're affecting. Love social media, but that's the curse and the blessing of it.
It is. And I think a lot of people, you know, not just me, people that I've talked to too, they deal with the same kind of thing. You know, it's like there's always going to be comments, and I'm lucky enough where I have a good group of people that can like, really comfort me and can
yeah,
really like
absolutely.
help me out. But to people who don't, it could be scary. It's a very hard and sticky situation because you want to be, like
Yeah, absolutely.
doing the content, doing things that you love, and like you're going to be in the spotlight, but that's going to
Yeah.
give more people room to criticize you as well. So
Yeah.
it's something that you have to learn how to deal with, but also surround yourself with people that are going to help you get through those periods if you do feel that kind of way.
For anybody that doesn't know, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure that they are like, oh, okay, that's just somebody that picks up their phone, presses record, and
Yeah.
posts it, right? Easy.
Yeah.
This thing is like a job.
It's
It's
a job.
worse than a 9 to
Yeah.
5. You're working constantly all the time. You're dealing with, hey, can you change this? Can you do that? Can you do that? That type of thing. How's the business side been treating you on the content creation aspect? And like, what's some things that you want to pursue in the future? What are some things that you're currently doing now that you're implementing that's gonna like happen over time?
Yeah, no, that's a good question.
Yeah.
And maybe just to backtrack, so before doing all of this and like freelancing and doing my Donut Mamii stuff, I actually have always been in marketing. Before I did all of this, I was
awesome.
last working at a social media marketing agency, but doing social media
Okay,
for
there
them.
you
And I
go.
had a lot of clients, so I gained a lot of experience working with multiple clients, and I just realized the agency life wasn't for me. And so what I ended up doing was starting my own business called Social Mamii. So it's kind of a play on Donut Mamii.
Yeah.
So I opened Social Mamii, but that was more to have clients to like either manage their social media or do like social media training or social media consulting.
Yeah,
things like
absolutely.
that. So those are like the services that I offer. And so I opened that business. It was a struggle opening it because like it's hard, like you have to hustle to get clients and you
Absolutely.
like network and things like that. But having my Donut Mamii page grow at the same time really helped me because whenever I would go to restaurants, I would tell them like, hey, I also do this on the side too. Like if your business needs like whatever, if you need consulting or if you just need whatever for your business, social media wise, I can help you with that. So I was able to get some clients from my personal Donut Mamii experiences and adventures and have them become clients of mine too. So it's like a win-win for me.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I've been doing since 2022. Is working with clients both professionally but also with Donut Mamii as my own and building my own brand as Donut Mamii too, aside from like Social Mamii.
Yeah.
And so it's been very hard with the Donut Mamii aspect of it, not the Social Mamii, because I think I have like that down professionally. But this one
Yeah.
is a little bit more different because I've encountered places that have taken advantage of me, for example.
Yeah.
Now I'm fortunate enough to like actually be able to monetize off of this, but before
Yeah,
then I
yeah.
wouldn't. And it took me a while to like even think about that, when everyone was telling me in the business, because everyone does it.
Yeah.
Everyone in the content creator, like I've talked to all content creators, they all charge. And I think as they should, because it is work. Like let's say you get this big marketing agency to come and shoot a commercial for you. You're gonna pay them thousands of dollars,
A lot of
right?
money.
And so what is it that like you paying someone, a content creator, come and do for promotion for you
Yeah.
at like a fraction of the cost, So
Exactly.
it's like, to me, why wouldn't you do it,
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's been the biggest struggle I think for me is like
Yeah.
justifying my work to a lot of people that believe that they shouldn't even pay me at all.
Yeah.
And so that's been a very difficult thing, but like after talking to content creators, because it is in the Chicagoland area, it's a very tight group of people, so we all know each other.
Yeah, absolutely,
We all talk, and a while ago we had like a group chat with all of us in it from across the Chicagoland area. And
That's pretty cool.
It's a lot of us, and right there we were able to share ideas, share experiences, and it was good, and it was helpful to know that other people go through the same experiences as I do. I thought I was the only one getting taken advantage of or not knowing how to maneuver certain situations, but it's very tough, I would say, doing this. Now I have some things in place like contracts and forms that people need to sign in order to ensure that we're going to get done what we need to do,
Yeah.
and we're in, like both of our parties are going to agree to certain things. And
Yeah,
so
as you should.
it's a learning experience, but at the beginning when I started, there was a lot of like road bumps along
Yeah.
the way.
What would you tell somebody that's looking to do content creation that's like kind of like in that weird spot where it's like, hey, they're just starting or
Yeah.
maybe they got some things going on? What would your advice to them be?
I would say just be consistent.
Yeah.
If you love what you do and you're passionate about that, follow your passions, because why do something else? Do you want to suffer being at a job that you're not happy doing? I think for me, this has been one of the most rewarding things because I love what I do. And yes, it can get stressful at times. But again, you have to learn how to prioritize certain things and how to manage your stress. And, as long as you got that down and you surround yourself with people that are going to motivate you and going to push you and are nothing but positive, I feel like you could do anything, And I think, again, follow your passions, because that's ultimately what's going to make us happy at the end of the day, right? We do what we got to do because we're happy about what we're doing, and we love what we do.
Thank you so much for everything. Again,
you.
make sure you guys follow Donut Mamii on Instagram, TikTok,
Yeah.
follow her on YouTube, and then also support the businesses too
Yeah.
as well. Thank you again.
Thank
It's
you.
such a pleasure.